So for example, here as you can see, I showed you an example of a web element. So here 12787. Suppose I'm sure that only my last number will be varying. 1278 will always be the same, only last will vary. So it can be 6, 5, 4, 3, 0, anything. So if I'm sure about that, so I can use 1278 and then a period over here. So period can be replaced by any character. So not necessarily a number, but it can be replaced with any character, and QTP will click on this web element. So for example, here it is 12788 and there it was 12787. So what I'll do is, if you see over here, there's an icon over here. If you click on that, you can configure the value, and there's a checkbox for regular expression. I click on that, which means I'm using a regular expression. So now 1277, instead of that I'll write 1277 dot period. So this means that if QTP finds any object with inner text as 1278 and any character including numbers, it will click on that button on that web element. Okay, so now let's see whether it works. I run this code. So if you can see, it clicked on this web element. So this is the function of period. Now I'll give you an example. Suppose I have another web element, okay, which is 1278 period, and it will always be constant, 1278 period. So what I want is QTP, whenever encounters a web element which has inner text as 1287 period, it should click on it. So in that case, my period is not a regular expression, so I won't tick on that. So this period now becomes the literal value. Now see, if when I'm again clicking on regular expression, QTP will throw a warning message that it will ask whether you want to add backslash before each special character in order to treat it literally. So as you know, period is a special character, that is wildcard. So when you add a backslash before each special character, it will treat it as a normal period and not as a regular expression. So I'll say no, because I'm not treating it as regular expression in the first place. I mean, I'm not checking this thing. So I'll click on OK. So in this way, QTP will take the literal value of period, and it will not consider it as a wildcard. My next example is square brackets. So to match a single character within a range, you can use square brackets with the hyphen character. For instance, to match any year in 1960s, you can enter 196, and in square bracket you can write from 0 to 9. I'll show you the example in Notepad. So suppose I want to match a single character within a range. For example, to match any year in 1960, as I said. So QTP should be able to recognize the object having any value from 1960 to 19. We are matching the year, so of 1960s. So it can be 1961, 1962, 1963, 1969, anything. So instead of the 0, I'll use the square bracket, and I'll write 0 to 9. So hyphen gives you the range 0 to 9. So QTP will match any of the values from 1960 to 1969. Now alternatively, suppose I just want QTP to identify the first 3 years of 1960, that is 1961, 1962, 1960, 1961 and 1962. So in that case, I can just directly write over here. So what QTP does is, if it encounters any web element or any object having this in the text value as 1960 or 1961 or 1962, it will identify the object. The next regular expression is caret. So caret is similar to which is used in combination with square brackets. So it is opposite to the values which we mentioned in square bracket. That is what caret does is, any character that is present in the square bracket, QTP won't be recognizing that. So let's see an example. So in this case, as I said earlier, QTP will match 1960, 1961 and 1962. Now suppose in my case, I don't want these 3 years to be matched. Rest, it could be anything. So what I'll do is, I'll use a caret. So now what QTP will do is, whenever it encounters object like this, having a property like this, it won't consider 1960, it won't consider 1961, it won't consider 1962. That is, if it encounters 1960, it will throw an error that object is not found, or 1961 or 1962. Apart from this, it could be anything. So say 1963, it will recognize 1960A, it will recognize. So it can be any special any character, not necessarily a number. So apart from 0, 1, 2, it can recognize anything, 1960,